Here we are for the second great archaeology debate of our generation. As you all might know, Graham Hancock keeps scurrying away in fear from any invites to face me person to person a second time. He has been invited by the producers of Piers Morgan to face me. He has been invited by the producers of the Doha debates to face me. In both cases, he ghosted them. So I am here to try to find a worthy opponent, and I can think of no one more worthy than Mr. Ancient Aliens himself. Giorgio Tsoukalos is in the house. Oh, yeah. So I am Flint Dibble, and I want to throw down with this guy because this has been coming to the head over the last few days. It all started when I discovered that Giorgio Tsoukalos has been slamming other fake archaeologists on Twitter. In particular, he has been going into their posts and replying and just mocking them relentlessly. And I found this hilarious. So I made a video mostly praising Giorgio, where I basically highlighted the hilarity of him, for example, targeting little grifters like Jay Anderson. This guy gloms onto everything, posts AI images. He lies. He just goes on and on and on, full of bullshit. And Giorgio's reply, of course, is, well, this is your getup in Egypt as a white boy from England? What's with the headdress? And the King Leonidas beard attempt and sparkly girl glasses. Absolute comedy. As I said, burn him, baby, burn, because Jay deserves this kind of slamming. He is not a good character, and watching you just take down and surgically eviscerate Jay Anderson over and over again, well, I thought that to be pretty hilarious. So, I got to give credit where credit is due to Mr. Ancient Aliens, Giorgio Tsoukalos. As well, he has been excellent at taking on some of the most unethical characters in the fake archaeology world. So, for example, those Nazca mummies, those tridactyls that showed up in Mexico's Congress, for example, a couple of years ago, one of their biggest boosters, Gonzalo Chavez, Giorgio Tsoukalos has gone after him repeatedly, and I can only applaud him because you know what? These Nazca mummies, they are exactly what Giorgio says. He says that they are dolls. They are not science. They are absolute bullshit. What these people have done is robbed indigenous burials of people in South America, and then they have desecrated them by ripping off their fingers and mutilating them and combining them with animal bones to create dolls that look like aliens. And I have to say, I fully agree with Giorgio. And so when I saw this stuff, I was like, all right, I'm going to make a video. I'm going to be praising someone who I thought that I had only disagreements with. And yes, I mentioned some of my disagreements with Ancient Aliens in that video, but the gloves were decidedly on during that video. Yet it's clear that Giorgio heard those few little comments about him and took serious offense. Because his reply to me came yesterday, where I posted the video again on Twitter saying, in case you missed it, this video about Tsoukalos slamming other fake archaeologists is hilarious. And his reply was this meme, me with little hands. Because you know what, man? I like those little doll hands. They're pretty cute. What can I say? Unlike you, I can laugh at myself. I don't have a fragile little baby ego. Maybe I got little hands, but inside, I'm all man, baby. Giorgio? Because you, on the other hand, you seem to have been triggered a bit because of the fragility of how you see yourself. My reply to this was, oh, ain't you a sweetie, Georgie boy? And he then goes, Georgie boy is what I am called within my family. I seriously doubt that for somebody from Switzerland who's half Greek and half Austrian. But maybe they call you Georgie boy, just like George Costanza was called Georgie boy by his family, which is where I got it from. But, sure. And then he goes, you, on the other hand, when you're not looking, they call you dribble boy. Like I've not been called dribble since I was about 4 or 5 years old. Come on, man. Come on. What is this shit? This is some weak sauce, man. And he called you dribble boy because everyone around you knows that, one, you actually dribble. How did he know that I'm awesome at basketball? I can take those threes and arc them in from behind the line. Actually, no, I can't. I suck at basketball. I was actually pretty good at it when I was about 5, when they were calling me dribble boy and I was average height. But since then, I got kind of short and I became pretty shitty at basketball. But that's okay. I still dribble with the best of them, right? And 2, your name Flint is also a lie. Well, it's false, he says, which is not true. I was born with the name Flint, but his reasoning is because not once did you ignited fire, especially in the bedroom. God, this is just like, wow. I've not once ignited fire, not even in the bedroom. Oof. Oof, I guess I'm going to have to tell my wife no more fire in the bedroom. I mean, you know, I like the flint and steel in the bedroom. I'm like, and then we have a merry little blaze, you know. So I switched to a little bit of Greek because I know he's Greek, and I go, Ella re Giorgio, come on, Giorgio. I had higher hopes for our exchange than this malakia, than this soft bullshit. And his reply is, you started it, actually. Then Trelos. I am not crazy. You think screaming burn others, and then at the same time you also bury me. I didn't bury you, man, but whatever. Fuck you and your cuntish demeanor, he says to me. Re Malaka, come on, asshole. Ise o Malakas, you're the asshole. Okiago, not me. Trelathikis re, you're the crazy one. Yati memilasatsi. Why do you speak to me like this? And I'm like, I didn't bury you, man, which I really didn't. I was about as polite as I could be to somebody who peddles fake archaeology and has tried to dismantle my field and its authority over 20 years or so. But whatever. And look, we can disagree about a lot in archaeology, and we do. I praise you about what I agree, and I critique that which I disagree, just like anyone else. I don't know what to say. I'm a straight shooter on this kind of shit. I call it as I see it. And if you're going to promote ancient aliens bullshit, well, I'm going to call you out on it. If you're going to slam people that are spreading other types of fake archaeology, well, then I'm going to praise you for it, particularly when you take on some real unethical frauds. And look, my invite for a cordial chat remains, though at this point, I think we should actually have a debate. Though, given this response, it's clear I struck a chord. On vekis tizesti. When it gets hot in the kitchen, get out. You know what I mean? That's what we're talking about here. So what's clear is that Giorgio has a fragile ego, an absolutely fragile ego. After this, he slid into my DMs and he basically cussed me out for an hour in there. Well, I kept saying, let's take down the temperature. Let's speak like adults. And then he's just like, you're a cuntish demeanor this, you're cuntish demeanor that, and da-da-da-da. And finally, I'm like, look, dude, you have done, and he claims that he loves archaeology, by the way, is what he told me. And I'm just like, you sure have a weird way of showing that. You invite on professionals and then clip them out of context. You absolutely promote distrust in the field. And then he's like, well, his last thing I think he said to me was that he's done more for archaeology, and Ancient Aliens has done more for archaeology than all of archaeologists together. And it's just like, you have to be kidding me, man. You're done a disservice to my field, and that is all. So what I've done is I have just posted a public letter to him on Twitter or X, where I have written, Dear Giorgio Tsoukalos, I am writing to challenge you to a public debate on the topic of the ancient astronaut theory. Our dispute with each other is clear after yesterday's Twitter storm, where you said to me, quote, fuck you and your cuntish demeanor. I prefer to respond in a more professional manner. And so I believe it is time for a debate pitting real archaeology versus your fantasy distortion of it. For decades, you have been the main face of the ancient astronaut theory as the host and executive producer of Ancient Aliens on the History Channel. It is one of the longest running and most recognizable television series in the world. Over the course of 22 seasons, the show has severely misrepresented the discipline of archaeology while borrowing the respect of the scholars that your team has repeatedly clipped out of context. I am assuming that you will decline this offer after seeing my performance against Graham Hancock, widely praised as a surgical dismantling of a popular pseudoscientist. This would, of course, be your prerogative, but it would be a decision that the world would witness. You unable to defend the narrative that you have promoted for the last several decades against a well-known critic who marshals evidence-based critiques against fake archaeologists of all sorts. However, If you are inclined to have such a conversation, my primary precondition is that we both agree on a platform that will not edit either of us out of context. It could be a live debate, a live stream, or a video conversation. But either way, the main priority is for both of us to have the opportunity to share our opinions and evidence. I hope you will take the time to seriously consider this offer. I assure you that those who are fans of ancient aliens and those who enjoy legitimate archaeology will both be intrigued in such a debate. It is an opportunity to share archaeology widely, and thus I think it is valuable for my field. Thanks, Flint Dibble. And that is my offer to Giorgio Tsoukalos. I hope that he takes it. I think that this would be a pretty cool debate to have. Tell me what you think in the comments. Let's bring this fraud to task in a public forum, because after yesterday's exchange with me, it's time to take him down. I will bring evidence and nothing else. This is not about ad hominem. For all I know, Giorgio Tsoukalos is a great guy. He strikes me as somebody that would be fun to have a beer with or smoke a joint with. But the evidence he brings and the harm he does to my field is clear, and it's time to expose that publicly. Giorgio, the ball's in your court. What kind of man are you?
Rhymes and riddles, tickle, tickle, giggles, squiggle, jiggle, fiddle, Flint and Dibble. Rhymes and riddles.